Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports back in the video today, and today I'm going to be doing my NBA second round predictions for these playoffs, and potentially there will be huge upsets in these series. So, I mean, the NBA second round's the NBA first round's not even over yet. But the reason why I'm doing this video is because the NBA second round is starting before the NBA first round is over, as Cleveland and Orlando will be finishing their series in Game 7 tomorrow at 12 o'clock. And Minnesota and Denver start their series tonight at 6:10. So I'm going to start off with obviously Game 7 of the Cavaliers Magic game. We can't get to the second round if we can't finish the first, right? So Cavs Game 7, Orlando. I'm going to go with Cleveland winning this game. Both home teams have dominated in this series. I think Orlando's definitely has a chance to win in Cleveland. They haven't been able to do it yet. Game 1, Game 2, they got blown out. They looked terrible. Game 5, they definitely looked better. It was definitely different than it was in the first two games for Orlando, offensively at least. But, Orlando's been great in this series defensively. Cleveland has only gone over 100 points one time in this series. So thinking for Orlando, if you can do the right things and you can continue to play good defense, but can you score the basketball better? And if you can do that, I think Orlando could get a win. But Donovan Mitchell just scored 50 points. That's not great defense. Orlando is a great defensive team. I just said Cleveland's only gone over 100 points once in this series in 6 games. But at the same time, they've had a hard job guarding Donovan Mitchell for most of this series, and I think he will be a big factor in that game tomorrow. And unless Paulo Banchero and Franz Wagner show up, big, I think that you're going to see Cleveland get the Game 7 win and move on to play these Boston Celtics in the first round. So I'm going to start off with the Western Conference. We're going to go to the Thunder and the Dallas Mavericks. So Thunder and Dallas, OKC and Dallas. So I'm going to do game-by-game predictions. I am going to so Game 1, I'm going with OKC. I think OKC, they have the home court advantage. They're in OKC. I think they get the win in OKC. I'm going to go with Dallas getting a huge Game 2 win, sneaking one on the road, going back home, tied one apiece. Would be big for Dallas, though. And then I'm going to go with OKC getting a Game 3 win, though, and going up 2-1. But I'm going to take Dallas to tie the series at 2 apiece. And then the next game is the most important game of them all. Because Game 5s in NBA playoff history, 80% of the time, the Game 5 winner, when it is tied at 2 apiece, wins the series. So I am going to go with Dallas getting a Game 5 win in OKC. I really like Dallas. I don't know how OKC, yes, you have great defenders. You got Shea, who's a great defender. Jalen Williams is a good defender. They got a great team. They got a good defensive team as well. Chet's a great defender as well. But it's going to be hard to guard Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving. Look how good, how well those two guys dominated the Clippers. So I'm going to go with Dallas winning Game 5. I think OKC forces a Game 7. And I'm actually going to pick Dallas to win Game 7 in OKC and win this series and head to the Western Conference Finals. Now let's go to Denver and Minnesota in the Western Conference. I'm going to go with Denver winning Game 1 tonight. I'm going to take Minnesota to win Game 2. And then I'm going to take Minnesota to take Game 3. Denver to win Game 4. Another 2-2 series where, this is a big game for, this series. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Denver to win. And I'm gonna take Denver to finish the series off in 6. And I think Minnesota's a great team. They're a great defensive team. Anthony Edwards is a great player, but I think it's going to be hard to take down the Nuggets. But I think if anybody's going to do it in the Western Conference, honestly, if anybody's going to do it in the Western Conference, I believe the team that will take down the the team that will take down the Denver Nuggets in the West will be Minnesota. I could see Minnesota winning this series, but I'm not betting against Jokic in the Nuggets. So that's it for the West. The Western Conference Finals would be the Nuggets and the Mavericks. I think that would be a great series to watch between two really good friends in Nikola Jokic and Luka Doncic. So now I'm going to go over the Knicks and the Pacers. I think this is going to be another great series, another series where they're I think it's going to be a great series. But you have one great offensive team in the New York Knicks going up against a great offensive team in the Pacers. So two really good offenses and scoring teams going up against each other, but then a really bad Pacers defensive team. I think it will be that will be the X factor for the Knicks in this series. Going up against the weaker defense. They have a good defensive team. They got OG Anunoby, Mitchell Robinson, Isaiah Hartenstein, good defenders. Brunson and DiVincenzo aren't terrible defenders either. So it's definitely this is a great defensive team compared to the Pacers. But it's a mid defensive team, and it's God compared to the Pacers defense. And so I think that will be a big advantage for New York in this series. I'm going to go ahead and take the Knicks to win the first two games of this series. I'm going with New York to win both games in New York. But I think Indiana played great basketball when playing at home. So I'm going to take Indiana to win both games in Indiana. They play different when at home. It's like a different ball. It's like a different ball team. I'm not saying they don't play good on the road, but they play a lot better when at home. I'm taking Indiana to tie the series at 2 apiece. And then I'm going to take New York to win Game 5, that big important Game 5 I keep talking about. And then I'm going to take New York to close the series out in 6 games. I got New York in 6. And then let's go to the next series in the East. That's the Boston Celtics and the Cleveland Cavaliers. I'm gonna take Boston to win Game 1, but at the same time, I'm gonna take the Cleveland Cavaliers to win Game 2. Boston does have their often struggles at home. I think Cleveland, without Porzingis, definitely could steal a Game 2, just like the Miami Heat did. So then Game 3 back in Cleveland. I think this will be a really good game, close game, but I'm going to go with Boston in a really close game. Cavs play good basketball at home. I think that will make this a really close game. But I'm going to say Boston wins this game by 5 to 7 points. And then Game 4, I don't see Cleveland losing both games at home. Yes, Boston's a great team, but very well could be without Porzingis at this timeline. So I'm going to go Cleveland tying the series up at 2 apiece. Look, I think they're you look at the teams in the East, I think the Cleveland Cavaliers and the New York Knicks are the two teams that pose the biggest threat to these Boston Celtics out of everybody in the East, even the teams that are not even playing anymore. And I guess you could include the Orlando Magic in there as well, because they're so good defensively, but at the same time, they are terrible when playing on the road in the playoffs, so that's definitely not great for them. So honestly, I see Boston taking Orlando down in like 5 or 6 games if they face Cleveland, but if they face Orlando, but if they face Cleveland, I could see Cleveland taking them to 6 or 7 games. Two apiece. I'm going to take Boston to win Game 5 back at home. I'm going to say Boston closes the series out at 6. So I have one Game 7 series with Dallas and OKC, and the rest of the series being 6-game series between Minnesota and Denver, New York and Indiana, and Boston and Cleveland, who's my prediction for Game 7 winner. Let me know your thoughts on my predictions in the comment section, and peace out.